I don't think you need to go into your Facebook. I just live it and it comes on.
Okay. Right, okay. Sorry, not very technical.
Nope, I'm not either. This is all the first time I was doing live, I was like, oh my gosh, where am I gonna how am I gonna find everyone? It'll be coming up now. Now we're good. Okay, hi, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Women's Health Matters podcast and YouTube channel. And today I'm joined by Mary, and Mary is going to tell us everything about what she does. So before we start, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel or subscribe to the podcast. That would be amazing, and share it around because we have loads of really great information there. And if you ever need any help through mental or any health issues that you're going through, I'm right here. So you just need to send me a message, email me, and we can help away. So welcome, Mary. Welcome to this podcast. And just tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I help busy women create a working wardrobe. So that works specifically for them. So very often we'll hear a lot of capsule wardrobe, color analysis, being a certain body shape, fitting into all these boxes. But what I do is I just deal with individual person herself, and I help her create a wardrobe that will work with her alongside with her business, or if she works in corporate environment, and whatever change that she may be going through. Because very often, believe it or not, when people come to me, they're always going through some sort of a change. So that can be, they've just had a baby, the change, the menopause, separation, they're thinking about promotion, or they haven't been promoted. That comes up quite a lot, where they feel like they've done everything they could and something's just not right. And thinking about starting their own business. That was my one. That was my reason for going. So what we'll do is there's an awful lot of personal development involved in it as well. An awful lot of people watching that I do, something that I was like kind of very good at doing anyway. So usually you're looking at the things, very often when you're saying, so do you like skinny jeans? And, people will be very blunt when they really don't like something. Be like, no. And I'm like, do you like this dress? Like, And that to me straight away says confidence issue. So it's trying to work out what's their personality and what's something that may be holding them back. So, and everybody has a different goal when they do come to me. It's not necessarily they need a whole wardrobe, or, very often it's little to do with the clothes, believe it or not. It is more to do with something is going on. There's a change in the inside and the outside just isn't aligning with that. And that's where I like to come in and help.
Wow. Oh my God, I've got loads of questions for you now. Okay, so if someone, because I remember when hipsters first came in, I was like, there is no way I'm wearing them. And now I wear them, no problem. And the skinny jean as well. So why would you say that when people go no to some definite no, that they don't like it, that you think it's to do with what's going on the inside? Well,
if someone gives you a definite no, I know by the way someone says no that it's part of their personality. They just don't like it. It's just not them. And that is part of a process that we'll do. It's called, discovering your style personality. It's part of a personal branding process as well. Because, like you're saying, somebody comes in and says, no, I don't like hipsters. That's maybe, right, okay. That really tells me a bit more about cutting out what you don't like. So we're really niching down on what you do like, because when people walk into a shop, they can feel quite overwhelmed. There's too much choice now. There's so much choice now, more than ever. And by niching that down, for them, they just get such a clear picture of what they are and who they are. and it's a much more seamless process when they do go out shopping.
Mm. Yeah, because sometimes, when you go into the shops, and I don't know, I think you have to be in the mood for shopping. That's my thing, because you can go in and you can feel like not particularly attractive, quite ugly. Maybe your hair needs a wash, or you don't have makeup on, or the clothes that you're wearing aren't really what you like. And then you go in to look for something new, but nothing really floats your boat. That I've been in that situation myself, where you just go in, you're like, there's nothing in here I like. And there could be like a good few things in the shop, you just haven't given it the time, I suppose.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. I mean, that has obviously happened to me more times than enough, but there's a couple of things that can be working on us. Maybe overwhelmed because there's so much choice. We don't know enough about ourselves. And I always say that, part of this process is getting to know yourself. We're always so quick to learn about other, subjects, other areas, but, we'll really hold back on learning about ourselves, because we assume we know everything about ourselves, but that's life. That's just an ever ongoing process, learning about yourself, and constantly learning about myself every day, why I do things, why I wear things a certain way, or what's, how my mood affects the way that I dress. But going in and that feeling, one, you could be suffering from being overwhelmed because you just don't know colors or shapes that will work for you. Two, as you say, not being in the mood, just not, maybe you're going in the first place because you don't feel good about yourself, and you're thinking that that's maybe going to cheer you up, which is not really what shopping does. And sometimes it does, but most times you're going in for the wrong reasons.
That's interesting, because I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, and I said I wouldn't do that. Because you think that going and buying something usually lifts your mood, but you're saying no.
Well, yes and no. If you're going in feeling that your wardrobe is horrible and you need to go out and find something new, and it's probably not going to make you feel any better, because there's probably reasons behind why you think your wardrobe is horrible, because maybe that's a self-image problem. Maybe no matter what you go out there and see, you won't feel happy or good about yourself, because it's an inner job we need to work on. A lot of people I deal with can't look in the mirror. That's the first issue we come across. I'm thinking we need to deal with that before we go out and shop, because they're thinking, oh no, I'll go personal shopping with you and it'll all be fine. Like, think we need to do some work before we go shopping. Sorry, another point was they don't have a list. And a good thing to do is to go out and browse and have a look when you don't need something, because that is enjoyable, because there's no pressure. You don't need anything, that's obviously when you've built up some tools and some knowledge about how, about shopping and clothes and stuff. But going out definitely with a list is really will cut down on the anxiety and the time that you spend when you're out there, because we're very busy women. We don't have time to be floating about. We want to, we'll enjoy it when we go out with a purpose and we feel at the end of it that we've achieved that goal.
So you're saying have a list of what you need. So say like I needed a new top and a skirt, say. Mm-hmm. That I go in and don't get distracted by a jumper and a pair of trousers.
Yeah,
because you do. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I have more questions to ask you. Loads of them here. So I'm going to do this one. So the way you said about looking in the mirror. Mm-hmm. So there are times when I do look in the mirror and I really don't like what I see, and there are times then sometimes I look in it and I do like what I see, but I'd say probably more times not liking, and it's something I've had to work on as well. But when you go into those changing rooms, I'm just in any shop, I can't think of anyone in particular, and you're like surrounded by the front mirror and the two side mirrors. Mm-hmm. That just is, I'm just like, I'm not really looking at the clothes, I'm just going, oh my God, look at that wobbly bit, and oh, that bit there, and just, it puts me off actually, I'm going to be honest. I kind of want to get it on quick as possible and get out the door and look at it in the big mirror in the changing room area.
But I'll be honest with you, I don't look in the mirror every day and think you're looking really well, and and I don't sometimes I don't find it easy to, ignore the lumpy bumpy bits. But I have the tools in place. I have the little rituals that I do to help get through that, because let's be honest, and I think we need to be really truthful about this. Every day isn't a day full of positivity. It's important to acknowledge when we have those days where we just don't really feel in love with ourselves. And having a system, having a ritual, I call it, that you go to, like, I'm the type of person, I have to come away from everything. I have to come away from social media. I have to come away from people and I have to just go in. I do my affirmations. I have a meditation, and it's always linked to my mood, quite obviously. Maybe hormonal as well. But I know straight away that I go and do those things, whether in the past I would have just let that go on and on and on and drag out. So really the aim for me is to try and shorten those days where I feel like that. And sometimes I need a day to myself, sometimes I need 2 or 3. But having the tools in place and having those affirmations and having your little setup of things just to help you get through that and to get over it and to realize, like, I was just having a bad day, of course I look great, of course I'm fine, because we see it out there and everybody makes it look easy, that it's so easy to just love yourself and just be yourself. It's not, it's work. So let's just acknowledge that it is work and it needs to be done and that we have to do it.
That is true. That is true. So that's really was going to be my next question. How do you like to get to love yourself in the mirror? So you're saying with your affirmations, your meditations, and things like that. Yeah. Really good, because so I would deal a lot with women who are trying to get pregnant, so fertility, and that's a whole big minefield in itself, because it's very much you feel like you're very left out of the tribe. So again, with the fashion stakes as well, it would be, this is not what I do. I help them to get pregnant. So I would just say, like, wear your favorite underwear or wear something that you feel lovely in, because, if you don't go out, I think it's like your armor in a way, maybe your clothes.
That's very true. It is like armor.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I've definitely done this in the past. We've used clothes as an armor in a very standoffish way without realizing, because we're maybe trying to protect ourselves from being hurt. So that's something to be aware of sometimes, because subconsciously we're so, and especially with like women that you're saying who are trying to get pregnant and have maybe went through a series of times where they really thought that they were and they haven't been. That's going to build up a lot of fear of being hurt, which is so understandable.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of build up a bit of defense, and then on the outside, we're trying to put on armor. We're trying to sort of protect ourselves in a way, because we don't want to be hurt anymore. So those are a few issues that we would maybe deal with and talk about. But yeah, you're right. Of course, you put on your underwear that makes you feel good, and your colors and everything. And color is something I talk quite a lot about, because there's so much psychology in color and the colors that harmonize with us and really sort of help us to, I say harmonize because they work with our coloring and our skin tone and really help us to see ourselves in the best possible light.
Well, that's really interesting, because sometimes when you put on a color, so I know that I work quite well with strong colors, even whereas like the beigey colors just don't suit me at all. I kind of
they're not good enough for you.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good way of looking at it. They're not good enough for me. So I like that style, that way of doing it. But why then? Sometimes, and you go in a shop and you try something on, and you know really that it doesn't suit you, and it's so not good enough for you, say. But then the assistant in the shop goes, "Oh, it looks wonderful," and you're going, "Oh, I'm not sure."
Of course they say that. They want you to buy it. They're trained in sales. They're not trained in self-image or body confidence or anything like that. Like, no effect. I mean, some of them are really honest but I find most of them, like you say, they're like, oh yeah, I just get that. And I, like, when I go out with clients shopping, I just kind of have to start in the way, and I'm like, right, she's hired me, so I'll just deal with this right now. But I think it's just, no disrespect. I just think it's because that is their job. They're just been trained to sell clothes. It's why you always see all of the bright, flashy stuff in the windows, because that's what attracts you in. And as human beings, we love bright, shiny objects. But, if I wore something, if all my clothes were so unbelievably bright, you would just see the clothes. You wouldn't see me.
Tell me a bit more about color. How do you know what's the color that suits you?
Color analysis. So I
say I came to you to, I know you can't tell me because this is what you do. Well, you can describe what you would do for me.
Well, if we were doing it online, this is the problem everybody had whenever COVID happened, because color analysis was predominantly done in person, and you were draped with all these different drapes that were all different hues and chromas, and different, you had muted colors, you had soft colors, you had bright, you had cool, warm, and then everything went online. And which was great, because at that stage I was actually learning more about human behavior. So like I would do a lot of questionnaires and things to find out, people's personality more, because if I try and show someone 5 shades of blue over, like you and I are talking now, you're not going to see 5 shades. You maybe see 2, but you won't see 5. So it's hard to do. So I try and sort of get you to tell me more about the colors, your skin color, your eye color, your hair color, maybe colors that you've liked wearing, because we do actually know some of the colors that we suit. We just don't know all of them. But then I would, at the end of it, once I've gathered all my findings together, I would give you a seasonal color palette. So mine is autumn.
Okay.
So I would be warm and muted.
Okay, and that's how. So that, and then when you go shopping, you look for those types of colors.
Mm-hmm. And at the start, I used to bring my swatches with me, and that's another thing I do with clients. I try and figure out what their learning style is, because everybody perceives color differently. So if I use all the fancy, proper names of colors, if I say cerulean, most people will be like, blue. Yeah, blue. So I just go, I find out how they learn visually. Are they an auditory learner or kinesthetic, which is what I was. I had to go around. I liked going around the shops and putting clothes beside each other and saying, that's the way it works. That's how it works.
Okay.
So I get a little book of swatches as well, which is usually really helpful to most people. And then explaining the seasons. I think I've only had not very many, or would be where they like sort of a written description more. But some do, like, when you compare to the seasons more, like autumn, you think of the colors around you in autumn, think of the way, our, parks look and our environment looks at autumn time, and they find that helpful as well.
Interesting. So, the way, like, as we age, so, some of us, our body shapes change. Mm-hmm. We can gain more weight around the middle, so that the outfits that we used to wear when we were, say, 10 years younger, maybe don't do this, look the same. How do you, say, like for me, so how do I change my image? How do I change the clothes that I should be wearing to, as opposed to the ones that I have been wearing?
Well, I suppose one thing I can compare to is probably weight gain and after having children. Like my legs were never the same after I had children, because I just was plagued with varicose veins. So I was always very sort of, I wouldn't show my legs. But I did have to challenge myself one summer, and I thought, I'm going to get these shorts on, I'm going to go out there with those legs. Just to prove to myself that I wasn't self-conscious anymore and that I could do it. I still don't really wear shorts, and it's just because we never get really that good weather to be wearing them anyway here. But Yeah, just, I think every now and again you have to, people always think it's about weight. I mean, your shape is something, I'm quite what people would call pear shaped. I don't like using those stereotypical body shapes because there are billions of us on the planet. We can't all fit into these, designated body shapes. It's just, so I always take people as I find them. But your shape doesn't really change. If you're narrow in the shoulders, you're probably always going to be narrow in the shoulders unless you're a bodybuilder, which never really come to me anyway. So the likes of, maybe more personal preference, I think, as you, change or as you get older and things. There's certainly, I certainly would not be turning around and saying to someone, you hear this, like, do you think you should stop wearing short skirts when you're a certain age? But no, I don't. I really don't. I think it's personal preference. And if, you're worrying about what other people are going to think of you, then you need to work on that, because if you're going to do that with wearing a short skirt, you're going to do that with everything.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
It is true, actually.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think we should keep our clothes in the wardrobe before we, like, not chucking them? I'm not going to say chuck them out, but maybe recycle them?
Well, I like to check I'm going to lie and say I like to check my wardrobe seasonally, but I'm a little bit more OCD than that. I'm looking through it all the time, usually for just different ideas for putting outfits together. I do believe that when you have a wardrobe in your own color palette, it's so many outfits, like so many more combinations. I like, whenever on Sunday night when I bring my laundry that's been lying in the laundry room all week up to put it away, things like, stuff will fall on the bed and I'm thinking, oh, I never thought about that. That's a good idea. I like when things like that happen. That happens so much now, more than ever. But I do recommend that you do check it seasonally, because maybe sometimes, at the minute I've started bringing the odd short sleeve top out, because I don't feel that we're totally getting very warm weather at the minute. There's still those days where I like to just put a little long sleeve top on. But then coming in maybe in another month or so, I'll be putting all the long sleeve stuff, to the back and pulling all the lighter layers and things like that out. But as for getting rid of things, if you're doing it for the first time, what I would suggest is turn all your hangers the opposite way around. And as you wear something, put it back in the right way around. And after, say, that season, I would do it seasonally. If you have more, get rid of it, recycle it, sell it on eBay, don't bin it, because so much stuff goes. So we are buying 300% more than what we did 20 years ago, clothes. It's so unnecessary. I have one reel of clothes, that's the truth, because I know I don't need it. Now shoes, I have to have a talk with myself. Don't buy any more shoes. But we really, we don't need the stuff. We just need to know how to work the stuff. We don't need copious amounts of it. But yeah, and we have to remember, clothes carry, emotional baggage as well. So if you're holding on to that, you can't really welcome in anything new if you're still carrying that stuff that you don't wear because it's a great memory, or there was that one time you wore it somewhere, but you don't really intend to ever wear it again. Yeah, you need to get rid of that. And decluttering is very therapeutic.
It is, actually, you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. So give us a tip on, so say we're going to go with your color palette, the autumn shades. Like how do you, mix and match it? Like how do you get it so you can get an outfit, several outfits out of
a few? Very easy. It's very easy in your color palette, like so unbelievably easy. So because I am about 2 sizes smaller on top than I am on the bottom, I would wear all my dark color. If I'm putting an outfit together, I will put my darkest color on the bottom and a lighter color on top, or print on top. But that is to balance out my body, because as human beings we we have this thing where we like to create balance, and we like to see balance, we like to see symmetry, and we can create that absolutely in our clothes. And the one thing that we get confused on is people go out and they try to, you know, fit into the clothes, or they try to work for the clothes whenever the clothes are supposed to work for you. So if you don't think you can get them adjusted or altered, then it's not for you. There's also this thing of thinking that sizing is gospel when it's not, when it's the biggest load of rubbish. And I was the same. I was like, oh, I'm not going up a size. There's no way I'm going up a size. No way. Because that's admitting to the world that you're a 14 instead of a 12. It's nonsense. It really is. And, you know, the designers out there, they don't care about you sitting thinking, you know, that you're a 16 in one shop and you're a 12 in another shop. They don't care about that. They just want you to buy the clothes. But sorry, I got sidetracked there. What did you even ask me?
No, it's just about how you create your wardrobe from your color palette.
So because so I would do the dark colors at the bottom mostly, and my print and my light colors on top. Because of my own personal style, I like a classy style. Like I just love a blazer. Like I have about 10 12 suits maybe. So like every day is like a suit day for me, and even when it's not a suit day, I will be wearing like a blazer with jeans or whatever. So I say, you know, always start with your basics first, you know, the things that seem like they're boring. So if you're really starting from scratch and you think, I don't know what to put on, I really haven't a clue, start with your most neutral things like trousers and a top, jeans and a top, skirt and a top. And then your accessories will create those little pops of color for you, or those interesting points. It could be a scarf, it could be a brooch, it could be jewelry, it could be the color of your sunglasses, and not forgetting that your makeup is also color. So a red lip, and there's a red for everybody. There's no such thing as this. So I see this all the time, like, you know, redheads can't wear red, which is a load of nonsense. It's finding the right shade, the shade that suits you.
Going back to the blazer look, I always love that look. I always think it looks really nice, but I don't know where I would put it on and I just feel like I'm too restricted. I don't know what it is about wearing a blazer.
That's funny you say that, because that's a friend of mine is like that. Like that's part of her style. She'd be quite romantic style, and they don't do suits at all. They don't do strict and tight, whereas I'm the complete opposite. But we always laugh because when she says, because I found something that would give you such anxiety, and she shows me like pink ruffles and velvet, and like that would give me anxiety. I just wouldn't wear that. And then I show her like a poker tight tailored suit, and she's like, anxiety. But that's all about, you know, developing and uncovering your own personal style.
That's interesting, because I never really thought of it that way before. I just would find it really restricting that I need a cardigan rather than a jacket. You know, it's mad, isn't it? I'd feel like, But
I get you know, female business owners, and, you know, I always say, like, just have a jacket, you know, and they're like, I don't really wear suits. I'm like, no, that's fine if you don't wear suits. So maybe go for a wee bit more of a relaxed jacket, just in case, because of whatever, you know, their business is, there's always going to be those times where you need to put on a jacket to go to something, and it's not too, it doesn't have to be overly expensive. In fact, I recommend that it's not expensive if you don't like wearing suits and jackets, but it is something just to have to wear for those professional things for your business.
Because sometimes, you know, when you're wearing the suit, like I always think you're a little bit, again, this is my lack of knowledge, restricted, like with navy or black or grey.
Well, if you work in accountancy, banking or legal, then you are restricted to those colours, unfortunately, because that's just what they dictate. And for good reason, yes, because they want to come across that they're no nonsense, no color, no humor, no, you know, they want to be bold and brass. And those are the industries that they're dealing with. But there are colored suits, absolutely. I have loads of them. You can wear a colored suit. Yeah.
I suppose I'm not a soup person, so it's just something that when I'm shopping, I wouldn't be looking for them. So that's probably why, actually, just going in and looking for more, I don't know, casual. I think for me, comfort.
But then it's the goal you're trying to achieve that day. So if if I was going to try and get a loan from a bank, I'd have to wear the navy pinstripe suit. I would have to look like I knew what I was doing with my business, so he would give me the loan. But if I am a life coach, if I was counseling someone, that would look a bit too authoritative. That might be quite frightening, because the goal you're wanting is that your client can trust you, and so you want to look trustworthy. So you might be a little bit more relaxed than what you were. Maybe have a bit more of a relaxed jacket on, just a bit more warm, a bit, that sort of thing. So you have to think about the things that you want for that day, and for, in your business or whatever your job is that you want for your client.
How did you get into this business? How did you?
With great difficulty. Oh, with great difficulty. My background's in accountancy.
Okay.
I know. My family thought I was having a midlife crisis when I turned around and said that I wanted to start my own personal styling consultancy. But as you do when you're in your mid-30s. But I just, when I was in accountancy, I just, you're just a number cruncher. There was no helping people. There was no real, it was very depressing watching people make a loss, because obviously I mostly dealt with small to medium businesses. And I was always wanting to open my mouth and speak, which isn't really what they expect you to do, in the job that I was doing. It's just, just work out the numbers and that's it. So it didn't feel very purposeful to me. It didn't feel like I was really achieving anything for myself or for the client. And I just, when I look back at all my journals at the time in my personal development, all it said was, I just want to do something more colorful and creative. And I remember I just started going to like little blogging events where, I heard that, maybe 20 bloggers or 30 maybe were invited to a business, and then everybody went away and did a post and a visual, and that was that business was going to be promoted and SEO and all. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea, that's brilliant. Then I learned each blogger has their own agenda for doing that, which is a whole different story. But I liked the whole idea of helping business out in that visual, creative way. I was completely out of my comfort zone, big time, really was. And then I had got some, I got personal styling done for myself, because I thought, well, there's nobody handing me an envelope here and telling me what I should be. And I thought, after all this personal development, that's what somebody would do. And I thought, God, this is really good. Like, this is really, there's a lot of personal development to this. There's a lot of self-image, and I really loved learning about self-image and reading Psycho-Cybernetics and those books and stuff. I just loved learning about all that. And then one day I was like, right, I'm just going to go and do a course, and I'll just see where it takes me. And I just fell in love with it completely. I stayed up all night, and it was like, no, it should take you, because everything was online, it's like, it should take you a couple of weeks to do the course. I had it done in like days. Because I had nothing to go to sleep for. We were furloughed, we were at home. So this was just brilliant. And I thought, if I don't see this as an opportunity, I'll never know what an opportunity is. The lockdown, everything happened just at the right time for me. And it was just perfect timing for me. it was annoying, yes, you're at home, but yeah, I have to see the good in it as well. And that was the good that happened for me.
Wow, I think a lot of good happened for people during COVID. I think if we look back at that time, a lot of people realized, that there was more to life than rushing to work and back again. I think, huge self-development. There was times when you were stressed and worried and money and different, being stuck at home and not seeing family. There was all of that element to it too, and the fear of COVID itself. But I think it's if you really sit back, that time was pretty amazing for us, actually.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Mm.
And you know, like anything with the really, really lows, there is the big highs, you know, so everything does balance itself out in some way. So
And you were saying before we started chatting that you have 4 children. How do you juggle working and your lovely kids?
um believe it or not, it's the older one that's the hardest. And I always tell her, you're my little test bunny, you know, because I've never done this before. So everything, you know, that happens after you is experience for me. And she's like, well, I'm glad to be of help. But yeah, it's, you know, it's just routines and things like that do help. I try to get as much done as I can when they're in school, which, you know, never goes to plan. But I try and think, instead of, you know, list wise, like I need to get this done, that done, and this done. It's like, right, what is the goal for this week that I want to have, you know, locked and loaded and out of the way, done. And I always, you know, I always have my clients booked when they're at school, so there's never any risk of them coming in the middle of Zooms or anything, or, you know, bumping into the teenager in town and, can I have money, when I'm with a personal shopping client? Like, I always have nightmares about that. But yeah, it's just like everything, you know, you take the.
Because I think sometimes when you become a mom, not everyone, but that you just don't get the time to style yourself. You know, a new mom, or when you have little people, it's hard.
It is. And I remember, like, after I had my second one, because I put about 3.5 stone on, and I couldn't even look at the scales anymore. You know, when your granny scales are always these great scales that tell you the wrong figure, and I knew I used to weigh myself in them because I knew they were wrong, and I knew it was much worse than what they were telling me. But those were the days I had tinted myself in black quite a lot, and I always try and offer people alternatives to wearing black. And, you know, if you're really, you know, strict about getting your colors and stuff done and sticking to your color palette, black really only harmonizes for about 20% of people. Now, that doesn't mean you can't wear it. It just means that you have to kind of put a lot of work into making black work for you. And what's the point? Because there's so many alternatives to black. You know, there's navy, there's chocolate brown, there's charcoal, there's gray, you name it. But the media has just done so much to promote black, even especially through the 90s, that we think black makes you look thinner. Black's chic, black, you know,
little black dress,
yeah. But I just remember those days after I had Cara, and I just always wore, I was like, black, just make sure it's black. Oh my God, because the weight, I look terrible, black. But it's much easier now to get ready. And I do find that, unless taking a quick half an hour on a Sunday and just throwing, you know, maybe 5 outfits at the front of your wardrobe ready to go, does help quite a lot.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, when you wake up and you're like, oh, what will I wear?
Yeah, I know. And it's much easier now, definitely. But I remember the time I had my son, I was much more determined that I wasn't going to sink into that pajama city that you sink into when you realize it's 3 o'clock and you still haven't got out of your pajamas because you've been prepping bottles all morning and, you know, checking on the sterilizer, but as well as looking after the newborn.
Yeah, the time just goes.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm getting up and I'm getting ready every day. But even you know, and that same thing with the lockdown, everybody was like, oh, lounge gear, and I can't get out of loungewear. And when the lockdown finished, like, I got was messages like, have you any tips for getting out of loungewear? You know, how do you migrate from that into back to your old wardrobe? And I'm like, sorry to tell you, your old wardrobe doesn't exist because the world has moved on and so have you. And I go, oh, well, you know what, I'll just come back to you when I've lost all the weight. But that's telling yourself, I forget about coming to me or a personal stylist, telling yourself that you're not going to get new clothes or buy clothes that fit you until you're a certain size is really self-destructive.
Yeah, because sometimes, I've been guilty of this myself, holding on to something, going, I'm going to lose the weight so it'll fit me again.
Yeah, I know. I have too. But you deserve clothes no matter what size you are. You deserve to be, dressed and happy in what you wear, no matter what your size. And it's, it took a while for that to sink into me as well. I didn't just wake up one day and go, oh, I'm great, whatever size I am. I had all those Easter eggs over Easter. That was a big mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Right, today's a new day.
I think that's true. Yeah, it's a really good, I use it as an analogy, as if you fall off the wagon today, you can get back on tomorrow. But if you fall off again, it doesn't matter because you can start again. That's the whole thing. It's just starting again.
I'm not feeling guilty. I'm lately I'm a bit more sort of conscious that people, and I realized this myself when I was training, that people have a very bad relationship with food, like and it's diet culture that has done that. It really has. To see people, I love to see people eating. That's probably the only thing I like to see on social media is people eating and, showing me their food at restaurants. Was, that to me says, oh, they go out and they eat and they enjoy their food. And that's nice to see that, because, so many other women are, it's that guilt feeling. It's the guilt feeling of enjoying something or eating something. We all get into bad habits, but we also have the power to develop good habits.
That's very true. That is very true. Okay, so if anyone wants to contact you to be styled, how would they contact you?
You can get me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Corporate and Creative Image.
Great. Mary, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For being on this podcast.
It's lovely being here.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You've been brilliant, and such, really great tips, because you do get stuck in the wardrobe or the elastic waisted stuff and drain, wearing the wrong colors that drain you.
Yeah. And it's the color's fault. It's not your fault. Everybody, thinks put more makeup, more this, more tan. It's the color's fault. And you should remember to dress for how you want to feel, not for how you feel, because we don't all wake up at 10 every single morning.
That is true. Yep, that's very true. Okay, thank you so much. And again, if you need to contact me, I'm right here, so you can contact me through email, lucytownsleyhealth@gmail.com, or just give me a PM. Okay, thanks so much. Take care, everyone.